Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time of stopping by. Hello, hi, you're highly welcome. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Join the growing family. To my old subscribers, I say thank you very much for all your support so far. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. In today's video, we'll be making this beautiful style for our princesses today. And each of my gown, if you want it to have a fuller look at the down part of it like a ball gown, you can stuff it up with your bridal satin or your hardness or whatever you have, and I will see you at the end of the video. So for this style, I'll be showing you guys how to fold your front and the back measure bodies together. So you're going to make a first fold, and whatever you fold is will be equal, will be enough for half of your bodies. That's your bust divided by 4, divided by 2, plus your allowance including your zipper allowance, so that by the time you fold it, you have extra for your zipper allowance, and the other remaining one will be enough for your bust measurement divided by 4 plus some inches for your allowance. That's what I folded, and I'm going to go ahead and mark out the rough edges for this Ankara fabric. I'm using an Ankara fabric, and this style is for a 8 to 9 year old girl. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my half length, and remember it's going to start from the line I just marked, and my half length is 12 inches plus 1 inch allowance for joining. Remember, our measurement is going to be starting from our center front and not from our zipper allowance. So from our center front, I'm going to take my neckline, which is 3 inches for the width and then 2.5 inches for the length. Then I'm going to give it a curve for a round neck. The next thing I'm going to do is to take my shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus half inch allowance for joining. And the same shoulder measurement is what I'm going to go down with for my armhole depth. And I'm going to go ahead and connect the lines. The next thing I'm going to take is my bust measurement divided by 4 plus my allowance. Remember, it's going to start from the center front and not from the zipper allowance, and then also for the waist measurement as well. My bust and my waist are the same thing. That's why I mark the line straight. So if yours is not the same, please take your waist measurement and then connect the line. Then for my shoulder slope, I'm going down by 1 inch. If you have always watching my video, you must have been familiar with this 1 inch shoulder slope, and that is basically it for now. For our bodies, we are going to be cutting the back neckline and the front neckline together, because we are going to change the back neckline after the cutting. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please hit on the subscribe button, join the family, and remember to give me a thumbs up. So for the back neckline, for the back design, I'm starting from my actual waist measurement, not the allowance. I'm going to mark up by 3 inches upward, and then I'm going to slant it to connect it to the neckline. When you look at the picture at the on the thumbnail, you notice that there is a design at the back of the gown. So that's what I'm trying to cut out now. So my fabric is in fold as usual. I went ahead to mark my neck straight line where my neckline started. Then I mark out my zipper allowance from my zipper allowance from I place my bodies on this. So from my bodies, I'm going to trace out my zipper allowance to meet the fabric I folded. Then from my zipper allowance, I'm going to go in by 3 inches for this, and then also from the neckline, I'm going to go down by 1 inch. That 1 inch is for my hook or my vector tape or my pressing button, whichever that you want to add. That's what I added 1 inch there for. So I'm just trying to reconnect the lines so that I can mark it out. Then I'm going to slant this to meet the 1 inch I marked at the neckline. Just to be on the safer side, I decided to add the the back bodies onto, because of the armhole. I want to cut out the armhole with the back bodies. That's why I placed it back. Then after cutting it out, I removed it. And then for the back one, I marked 1/2 inch at the zipper area and then slanted it to meet my side seam. This will eliminate any bulge there. Then I cut out every other thing. So going into the sewing tutorial, I went ahead to cut all my bodies, the back, the front, and the other back bodies into two. If you have layer lining, you do this with your lining. But if you are familiar with my videos, you know I most times I use my fabric to do my lining. So I cut everything into two. So this I want to make a loop for my button, but after sewing it, sewing the gown, I would advise that you shouldn't do the loop. I don't think it's necessary, but if you at the end of the day want to attach your attach button, you can do it. But at the end of the day, I did not use my button. The reason for doing it is for those that do not have pressing button or do not have a velcro tape. So I'm going to place it into my around my neckline, 1/2 inch downward, then make the rough edge to meet the rough edges of the body, and then I'm going to go ahead to my sewing machine and then stitch it down. So this is it after I was done stitching it down. Time to turn all the bodies inside out. So I'm going to place each one with the sister or the brother and then stitch on my armhole and the neckline for the back, and then for the edge, the back, second back, I'm going to turn the neckline, the two sides starting from the 1 inch there. Then I also turn the shoulder area. I said not to stitch it into my shoulder because it's longer than the shoulder, and just to make the work easier, I turned it now and left the side seam open. Then for the front bodies, I'm going to stitch the neckline and the armhole. And this is it after I was done stitching it. The next thing I'm going to do is to notch the whole area, the armhole and the neckline, and then turn it inside out. So this is it after turning it. If you have your light, you can go ahead and iron this down. It will give it a perfect look. And the next thing I'm going to do is to join the two shoulders together, the back and the front body. Join it together and then stitch it down. And this is it after I was done stitching it down. And the loop there is just an extra loop to attach something like a rope there for extra design. I don't know if it's something you will like, but if you don't like it, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. The loop will be covered by the extra bodies. So for these extra bodies, you are supposed to attach it inside it's in front of the back bodies and not the way I'm placing it. You're supposed to place it under the back bodies, and it's going to start from the shoulder line. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Instead of placing it the way I am placing it now, you're going to place it inside it. It's going to be touching the front bodies, but then use the main back bodies to cover it, so that by the time you turn it over, it's going to be outside. I didn't notice this mistake until you don't want to know until when, but I'm going to tell you guys until when I noticed it. So I went ahead to stitch my two sides with my my measurements. So going into the gather part, I'm going to first of all turn the rough edges into with my allowance and then stitch it down. Then run a loose stitch at the upper part and then gather it to my measurement. So this is it after running a loose stitch. To gather this, I'm going to pull on one of the thread and then gather it to my measurement, including my zipper allowance. But remember, I don't gather my zipper allowance. At this point, I haven't noticed my mistake as well. So I'm going to go ahead and then attach this gather to my bodice. What I'm just showing you guys is that I did not gather my zipper allowance. So you're going to attach it from your zipper all the way to the other side of the body. And this is it after I was done attaching it. So this is where I noticed the mistake and I had to go ahead and lose everything before coming back to the video. So that's what I'm just showing you. Make sure that this is not inside, is inside before you stitch. By the time you turn it, it will be outside. So I'm going to use this for my bow. For the length, I have about 10 inches and the side is about 8 inches. I'm going to put a gum stay on it, iron it, and then stitch around the side. Leave about 2 inches to turn it inside out, and then once I turn it, I'm going to stitch down the remaining opening. So what I'm doing there is just to get the center, and from that center I'm going to go ahead and gather this with my hand needle. And little um the little cloth that I made, little, what am I supposed to call this, I just stitch it down and then turn it inside out. The little fabric, I think I have about 4 inches there. So the next thing I'm going to do is to close the remaining of my zipper allowance and then attach my zipper. This zipper is going to be a short one because our zipper is not from the shoulder, around the shoulder. Then I'm going to go ahead and attach my bow at the second back bodice, not the main back bodice, with my hand needle. And then you can go ahead and attach your what's it called, pressing button, or your velcro tape. For me, I do not have a velcro. Then I'm going to go ahead and stitch this down a little bit, just a little stitch there to hold it in place. So I'm going to go ahead and attach my pressing button, or your at where I'm just showing you, pressing button or velcro tape or whatever, and then attach your bow to it. For me, I use my velcro tape because I do not have a pressing button. And that's all for this time, I believe so. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please don't leave today, please, without subscribing. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel like I've said before and I keep saying, join the growing family and share my videos. In fact, do everything you're supposed to do for me. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.